It's been a week and a half since the first time these Gratton Cup Series cars hit the track here at the Daytona International Speedway for practice. A lot has changed since then. We've had some drivers that have failed to make the Daytona 500. We've got our field of 42 set here for the 7th running of this great American race. Brandon Bent, a former winner of this race, will lead the field to green after qualifying on the pole last Sunday. Can he get his second Daytona 500, or will we see another upset here around this 2.5 mile speedway here in Daytona Beach, Florida? This is the 7th Gratton Cup Series Daytona 500 live here on the Gratton Racing Network. Hello everyone and welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida and the Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500. Great to have your company. My name is Stuart Gratton. I'm joined by Nathan Stapleton, the winner of the last two 500s as an owner. Great to have you on board, Nathan. Great to have everyone tuning in here for the 7th Gratton Cup Series Daytona 500, our first points race of the season. First race of 30 again this year. The chase is back. There's a lot to look forward to here this season. We've got a jumbled up field. The duels did not play out the way that perhaps I would have anticipated. But that's good. It's good to have curveballs thrown around. I think some of the drivers were surprised by the way the duels played out. Notably, someone starting from the 4th position. But anyways, Nathan, great to have you back in the booth. Obviously, you called a lot of races last year. You won 10 races as a team last year, including the Daytona 500 with Travis Crampton. This is a long race, 50 laps with no pit stop. So what are you going to have to do here to win today? Because your cars are jumbled up all over the place in terms of where they start.
Well, that's the beauty of Daytona. Like you said, not just my cars, but everyone is jumbled up throughout the field here today. And the way that Daytona is, you can make the way up to the front. But as we saw in the duels, there was a couple of close calls. And with a full field of 42 instead of just split in half, I think we will see more close calls like we saw in duel number 2. So these guys have to be very careful about that. Hopefully we don't have a wreck, and hopefully we don't see any 4 wide. But this is a very fun version of Daytona as it's been for many, many years now. And we gotta see how it all shakes out. It would be awesome for my team to maybe have 3 different drivers win the 500 3 years in a row with Watson starting up towards the front. But it's Daytona. Anyone can win, and we just gotta wait and see what ends up happening.
Indeed, anybody can win, and I know we were talking about it off air a little bit, but historically in the Daytona 500, drivers that start towards, let's say mid-pack or towards the rear, have been the ones that have won the race historically, outside of a couple of exceptions, including from the man who started on the pole, Brandon Bent, who starts on the pole here today, rather. Brandon Bent won the Season 4 Daytona 500 from the 8th position. Jonathan King won the Season 2 Daytona 500 from the 4th position. Otherwise, every other Daytona 500 winner has started at least 24th or worse. So it is a long race and a lot can happen. A lot could change in a very short span of time. There's no question. And we did go clean and green through the duels, but we've had a caution in every single Daytona 500, and I expect that to remain true. But we'll see how we go around this Daytona International Speedway. Just a quick little heads up as well before we go. Like it was the case last year, we will be disqualifying drivers if they are involved in a crash and they're a long way off the pace. And we'll determine that as the day goes along. But anyways, let's run through our field of 42 for the Daytona 500. We're going to run through every single car, so bear with us. It's going to take a little while. But on the pole, in the number 27, for Nicotech this year, after 5 seasons at DW Motorsports, the Season 4 Daytona 500 winner and 2-time series champion Brandon Bent will lead the field today to the green, alongside his new teammate at Nicotech, Rookie of the Year last year, winner at Chicagoland, Max Davis. And then the dual winners on row two, Nathan Meyer in the 42 for Mahindra Motorsports on their Cup Series debut, both team and driver. And Duncan Ward makes the move to Evans Ross Racing. He won dual 2 in dominating fashion. Benny Watson, 2nd year in a row. He starts from the 5th position in the 500. He won 5 races last year, alongside Alejandro Cruz for the 2nd year in a row, raced his way into the 500. Henrik Waugh, second in the 500, second in the championship last year, hoping to go one better today and throughout the season. He's alongside Nicholas Simunio, who also raced his way in for another new team here in Big Motorsports. Sarah Taylor qualified her way in last Sunday, qualified third overall, starts ninth here today, alongside Miles Inamatsu on debut for Evans Ross Racing. Alex Sanvitale from 11th led the most laps in his duel. He starts alongside Emily York-Watson in the 78, racing for Durrani Racing in their first attempts. OS Joshi for Mateus Bento Racing in the beautiful-looking Dale Senior throwback is starting alongside Nathan Morgan, who squeaked his way in. He had to race his way in at the last moment in Duel 2. Kyla Sustre in the number 5 for Davenport Performance Racing, another new team here on the grid, alongside Ellie Fondati from 16th in the third Evans Ross Ford. Nathan Smith in the third Nicotech Honda, driving the car that won the championship by Dawson Miller last year, starts from 17th, alongside Eric Monaco, now driving the 52 for Hairgel Motorsports. It was driven by Charlie Davenport last year. And then rounding out the top 20, the Season 5 Daytona 500 champion Eli Bright back with NS Racing again, and Thomas Troxel for Pacific Racing starts from 20th. His teammate, Anthony McClure, rookie driver, starts from 21st alongside Roberto Crown Jr. in the 82. Crown also qualified his way into the 500 along with Taylor. Caleb Rose in the 32 for Pacific Racing alongside Season 5 pole sitter of this race, Alexander Rowe. Jake Rogers and Kelly Lee, teammates at Premier Racing Motorsports. Lee has finished in the top 5 on 3 occasions but has never won the 500. Rogel Dawn in the 04 starts alongside Jack Haas in the 00. Haas was very quick in qualifying. Jared Oren in the 99 from the 29th position alongside Zyla Burton for Fitzwater Australia Racing in his debut. Patrick Raven in the second Durrani Ford barely got into the 500. He's in car 86, starting alongside Tyler Jericho for Team Velocistar. His teammate Braden Perez starts from 33rd alongside the 43 of Will Parrish in the second Fitzwater Ford. Dominic Anthony and Travis Crampton on row number 18. Anthony the runner-up in Season 5, Crampton the winner last year. Teammates Leonard Koshma and Logan Williams locked out the front row in last year's 500. Today they lock out row 19. Jerry Chen, another rookie for Gifford Technologies Incorporated, and Matthew Hubert. Hubert led the most laps in last year's Daytona 500, and then Aris Yuko and Ludovic Charette round out the field. That's your full starting lineup. You'll see it on the left side of your screen anyway, with thanks to Budget Contract Rental. So there's your field of 42. You'll see the rest of the starting lineup, of course, left side of your screen. And we'll get these cars to roll off here at the Daytona International Speedway. We'll just make sure everybody is rolling off, and it's like we have got everyone going. So, Nathan, as everything's on the left side of the screen, of course, who do you think is going to win the Daytona 500 here in Season 7?
Well, this is going to be a tough one. It's always tough to pick the winner at the Daytona International Speedway. Every time you come here, it doesn't matter if it's equal lanes, restrict plate, non-restrict plate. This track is a wild card, but I think the trend is going to continue. Outside of the top 20, 21st through 25th has been the sweet spot on the grid, and I'm going to go with in between that. 23rd, Caleb Rose, Pacific Racing, a great car owner, a car driver and owner duo. I think Caleb Rose from that 23rd position is going to get the job done here at Daytona and snap a 2-year domination for my team here at Daytona.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, he won Crocodile number 1 last year. Unfortunately, didn't go his way in the 500. He was involved in a crash early on that took him out of the race, but we'll see how he fares in that number 32 for Pacific Racing here today. But anybody can win from any position. I remember when Brandon Bentz, who starts the pole here, of course, won the Season 4 Daytona 500. Jack Porkins pushed him to the win, and Porkins started in 42nd that day. So you can win from legitimately anywhere here at the Daytona International Speedway and the Daytona 500. It's been a while since we went racing in terms of points racing. We had the finale at Homestead. Dawson Miller was the champion that day. Of course, he's no longer on the grid, but Nicotech still at the front of the field. This time, it's with the 2-time series champion, Season 4 Daytona 500 winner Brandon Bent and last year's Rookie of the Year Max Davis, who are going to lead the field to green here at the Daytona International Speedway. Green flags in the air. We're underway here in season number 7. How about that? Perfect start for Nathan Meyer in the 42. And Mahindra Motorsport's first ever Cup Series lap is the lap lead for the number 42. Great start for Meyer, picking up right where he left off in the duel. Although, Brown Bear trying to fight back on that outside. Not going to be able to because Meyer's got that inside through the corners. And what we have seen historically here at Daytona is that the inside lane, certainly the place to be on the entry to turns 1 and 3. But on the exit out of turns 2 and 4, the outside lane certainly the preferred line. As here comes Benny Watson. How about Alex Sanvitale, who led 10 of the 15 laps in the duel? He finished 5th in duel 1. He couldn't quite get the win, but he's just made a move 3 wide on the inside of Sarah Taylor. As Watson now to the front of the field with a bit of assistance from Henry Wall here in the 71.
How about a couple of seasoned veterans up towards the front in that 71 and 96? And shout out to Nathan Meyer. Mahindra Motorsports is known to be a very solid team based off of what we've seen in the Buildup Cup Series this year. And a great start for that 42 machine. And he's someone I'm going to keep an eye on always on is Alex Sanvitale. He's won here at Daytona before in my series. He was very fast in the duels, and he looks very fast again. White, I thought was going to make it 4 wide. I really hope these guys keep it clean here today. I know you said that we've always had a caution in the 500, but I hope that's not the case because we got a lot of great teams, a lot of great drivers, and a lot of nice paint schemes. I don't want to get torn up here today at Daytona. Right now it is the 71 out front on lap number 4.
Yeah, no surprise to see the 71 out front given what he did last year. And I'm going to keep harping on the fact he finished 2nd in that 500, but he led a lot of laps in that race as well. But here comes Sanvitale. Finished 7th in the 500 last year. Has looked fast to start off, and here he is taking the lead here in the 500 with OS Joshi, one of the rookies. Plenty of rookies on the grid, and one of the new teams on the grid. Mateus Bento Racing. Got another new team right behind in Davenport Performance Racing. Charlie Davenport's team. Kyla Sustre, the driver here in the number 5. We have 6 new teams on the grid for this race. We have 7 on the grid in total. Imperial Motorsports unfortunately failed to qualify with both their cars, but we've gone up actually year on year. We had 15 teams last year. We've got 17 this year, which is fantastic. Certainly helps us. We've expanded the grid size here a little bit. But how about Alex Sanvitale? He's got himself clear, and here he is controlling the field here in the early stage of the 500. You said he's someone to keep an eye on as he's won here in other series before. Well, here he is looking really good to start this race off.
Sanvitale, great start, and this is something I'm curious on. Is if we get some of these drivers that have a good enough car, to control the lanes, one the high side on the straightaways, and then one kind of from the middle to the low side in the turns. That is a great way to control both lanes, and Sanvitale is doing that right now in the number 37. He got Eli Boy in the number 95. Love that 95. I believe we've always said it all the way in Speedways that I got my dream of Powerade finally in World Series 2, and that was a nice paint scheme. I'm going to help on a lot of these paint schemes in the season with everyone, but Sanvitale doing a great job over Sustry and Joshi, controlling each lane here early on, and we gotta see of how long Sanvitale can do this, because eventually the dam's going to break and someone's going to be able to get there, but right now Sanvitale is in the lead here early on.
I'll tell you what, they are very calm off the start here. This is not what we saw at the dual races where Logan Williams made it 4 wide on coming to the completion of the first lap. They've been 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 pretty much throughout the entire field. Now we've got some 3 wide back in here as Patrick Raven gets to the inside, or tries to get to the inside of Jared Oren. That's going to shove the 39 of Dominic Anthony to the middle. Probably not the place where he wants to be, but of course a long way to go in this race and a lot to play out. But Sanvitale looking the goods here in the early stages and backing up that form we saw in the dual race as Joshi comes down the racetrack a little bit, almost sideswiped there. Kyla Sustre, that could have been disastrous, but no harm, no foul. As Bright continues to hold him behind. Hey, and the thing about Eli in the dual race, He was him and Savitale. Those two were the two that were first and second pretty much the whole race. Savitale was on the outside, Bright was on the inside. Eventually, Bright got shuffled back a little bit. Same with Savitale later within the last maybe 2-3 laps of the race. So, you know, the 95 at the moment, just I feel like he could have made that move into turn 1 last time. Decided to hold back behind Sustre for the time being. You got Nathan Smith as well up here in the 48, in the championship-winning car from last year, driven by Dawson Miller. But he gets a great opportunity here with this team, and obviously off to a very good start. And, well, I talked about Bright not making the move. Well, there you go. Smith's not going to make the move there as well. Patrick Raven's the one that's you know, on the inside of 3 wide on a couple occasions here. He shoved Dominic Anthony in the middle. Looks like Duncan Ward was in the middle this time in that 93 Cup.
Yeah, Patrick Raven is the one making moves, and that is the interesting thing. When it's like this here at Daytona, and when most of these guys are double file, we don't want to be in that middle. We don't want to be in the sucker hole, and that's what Duncan Wood was in. And he lost a lot of spots in the line because of it. He is on the outside lane, but as one of the unique things is that when it's mostly double file, you don't want to get out of the 2 lanes. You want to stay in either the inside or outside. But then when there's more and more 3 wide racing, then that middle is kind of the place to be. Very fascinating of how this version of Daytona works out. Very competitive racing throughout the race, and it can change very quickly. And right now, no one can get past Sam Vitale, and this is just a fantastic job. And how about this, one of my cars, the blackout version of the Amsoil Ford. And here we go, he's going to lead this inside lane of, I guess the inside lane of 3 lanes now. And now we gotta see if, say, the 99, the 2, and the 51 can all make this inside lane work. Because, I think people are getting a little bit antsy. I think they are tired of seeing this 37 dominate too, and we have definitely seen some of these guys make moves on the inside lane up towards the front.
Yeah, it looked like Smith was going to try and make that move there on the inside of Bright, but decided to hold back. Inamatsu was the one that certainly lost out in the shuffle there, that 91. Got stuck in the middle, but they're all going to file each other back to double file. So, yeah, I think that certainly it's interesting to see the lane shuffling. Even that with Alexander Rowe there, the 51, deciding to move up to the top lane. It's a fascinating move, because when do you want to make your move here at Daytona, especially in a race like this where, you know, we haven't seen really any 3 wide, let alone 4. Oh, that's close there, as Anthony nearly ran up the back of Davis. But just quietly as well, at the back of the field here is our reigning Daytona 500 champion, Travis Crampton, and Kelly Lee as well. Lee has finished in the top 5 here 3 times, 2nd in Season 3, 3rd in Season 2, and 4th last season. And here she is at the moment, currently running in the back of the field, and Crampton, the winner last year, you know, currently running right at the back of the field as well, although he's got a great surge of momentum. It's interesting. It's kind of like, it's one of those accordion effects, isn't it, with the lines and the way that they work sometimes. But it's Joshy. He wants to get a bit of a wriggle on. I think he wants to get down to the inside and challenge his 37.
Absolutely. It looks like Joshy might be getting some good pushes on the outside lane with some very good drivers on the outside lane behind him. And I do think the 3's going to get cleared. Not quite in 2021. So that's why he's still fighting on that inside lane. And I think if Joshua can get clear, I think that 3 machine could have something for Sam Vitale. But Sam Vitale just doing a fantastic job. And here we go. I believe that is the 04 machine of local door. That's the name that we gotta watch out for, I think. And now that's gonna put, unfortunately, one of my cars stuck in the troublesome middle spot in this current situation. But it's very fascinating of how Daytona works out. Stuart, when we are in this scenario, the middle lane is not really want to be in. That's what we are seeing. But this is all because of Sam Vitale. But quickly to trust me, I'm not too worried, because I know for a fact this is what he likes to do on iRacing at Super Speed Race. So maybe he's doing that, playing another trick in the playbook, and hopefully, you know, he's hoping that these guys work when he's able to make it through. But it's still a long way to go through. We're only on lap 14 of 50, and if this stays green, it is going to be a long way to go until we get to the end of the 500.
this feels like a green flag race. I mean, we've hardly seen any 3 wide for the most part. We've got some 3 wide here now. Williams is going to run in the middle with Jared Oren, so maybe that middle lane's starting to form. Thomas Truxell in there as well. And look at Eli trying to make some moves down to that inside. Not going to be able to. Now, Jake Rogers is the one that's kind of making some moves here. He's just shoved his teammate to the middle. So the number 2 is one to watch, fair to say. Running a number that means a lot to him. He switched from 40 to 2 in the off-season. A number that means a lot to him. And here he is trying to make his way forward. This is his 6th Daytona 500 start. We've got a lot of drivers making their 6th start in the 500, and here we go.
Look at the fleet.
Yep, Joshy got down to the inside. He got clear of Sustre, and OS Joshy for Mateus Bento Racing in the number 3 is going to take the lead of the Daytona 500 in his first start.
How about that? And that's what I was talking about. If the number 3 could get clear, that could break up San Vitale, and that is exactly what he did. And how about the field? 2 laps ago, I mentioned that these guys look to be kind of chilling, knowing it's a long race, and now all of a sudden, since I said that, we have 3 wide all over the place here, and here we go. I think the dam finally broke. San Vitale was the dominant car, and now here comes the inside lane, the 5 of Susrai, the 48 of Nathan Smith, Jake Rogers, the 53 is on the inside lane as well, and now this is gonna get crazy here at Daytona. We went from double file for the last 10 laps. Now we have 3x3x3 everywhere.
Indeed, Sustre leads there for Davenport Performance Racing in their first start as well. It's a great moment for him. But Nathan Smith, now Rogers. Rogers is one of those guys you've got to keep an eye on because he's been the one making moves, and this field's certainly getting more antsy and certainly more racy. Rogers with his teammate Aris Yuko here in the 53 in his first Cup Series start. Started from second to last. He started on the last row of the grid. He's now trying to take the lead of the 500. Not going to get underneath his teammate right there, but he has worked his way forward very, very nicely. Same with some of these guys back in here. Braden Perez started 33rd. Patrick Raven started 31st. And Leonard Koshma started 37th. So the rear of the field, drive started, mid-pack rear of the field. They're the ones trying to make some moves now, as Rogers was able to get himself clear as Smith and Bright nearly make a bit of contact out of turn 4. That was almost a disaster there, but everybody keeps it together. But now we're getting some 3 wide. We're seeing some lead changes. Yuko with a big shot from Perez. He's going to get to the inside of his teammate here for the lead. And Bright's trying to... Bright's in an awkward spot. He's trying to get up behind the 2, and that's what he's going to do now. It took a while. Smith was making that a bit hard for him, but he gets up there eventually. But now we're seeing the field really all over the place, and we're now seeing some new faces. So Raven, Kosh, how about Roberto Crown and his new teammate? Well, not new teammate, a teammate this year in Matthew Hubert. And of course, Hubert led the most laps in the 500 last year. And look how far back San Vitale dropped in all that in the 37. And he's dropped a long way down the order after dominating so much of the early portion of this race. And here comes Brain Perez. He's looking for his 3rd win in 4 Cup Series races.
That's a crazy step in its own right for Brain Perez to do that and, win the 500 in the process. And gotta see if that Velocity machine can get the job done. But 2 cars I'm kind of looking out for is the 8 and the 82. Teammates to San Vitale for Hilltop Motorsports. And we saw how much speed out San Vitale had. Does Hubert and Roberto Crown Jr. have the same speed as the 37? That's something that we gotta watch out, but teammates might betray each other here for a ride in the trial.
Oh, that's very, very close there. Crown moved up, but you got a couple of teammates there, a couple pairs of teammates. You got Hubert and Crown, and then PRM teammates in Yuko and Rogers. Yuko might have to back out here. It's going to be close out of 2. So Yuko going to back out and let that one go. I think he will. Yes. He did eventually. He did want to. It took him a while. But he gets himself out of that Yuko, and we avoid an incident, luckily. How about Patrick Raven here in the 86, leading here for Durrani Racing? So I reckon we've seen the bulk of the new teams have taken the lead here in this race, but now we've got a couple of Pacific cars. Well, actually got 3 cars. 3 Pacific cars on the inside. You've got McClure, you've got Troxel, and then a couple of cars back beyond them is Caleb Rose, your pick to win in the 32, making his way forward here on lap 20. So a lot going on here in the Daytona 500 all of a sudden. It looked like it was going to be a romp for San Vitale for a while. But then Joshy got to the inside. That changed everything. And now Anthony McClure on debut on the inside with a push from his teammate trying to take the lead. But here comes another Durrani Ford. Emily York-Watson here, who said after qualified 48th, qualified really poorly, and said, look, we don't really have a qualifying car, we got a race car. And raced pretty well in duel number 2, raced away into the 500. She's now pushing Troxel to the lead in car 62.
Well, I say that 78 is a race car, definitely up towards the front. And how about this? You got a lot of teams up here that have 2 or 3 cars up in the mix. You got Pacific, you got Dwani, you got Hairdryer Motorsports, you got Team Williams with a couple of cars. So it seems like here as we approach the middle of the 500, some of these teams might have wanted to be in the back early, right? Pacific, right? Dwani, and they might have worked up with each other and worked their way up to the front all together. And that's not a bad strategy. That's one way to do it here at Daytona, and that's a smart way to do it for some of these team owners and winning all the cars with a chance up front late in the going. How about the 99, the one and only NS Racing driver that did not win last year? I really wanted to win this year, or this season rather. And at this point, I don't know who's going to get the job done, because we've seen the way that this pack is. Only one time has someone been able to really calm the pack down of making it double file, and now Sam Vitale. Besides that, it's been 3 wide all over the place, and only halfway through, and oh boy, that is not good. Davis and Meyer.
Yeah,
4 wide once again.
Davis, York-Watson's there in the 78. Now this is where historically things could go pear-shaped out of turn 4. York-Watson's going to move up. That's smart driving. That's driving that's beyond her years there as a rookie driver. That's a very impressive move to make, to get up to the outside. Realize that you have that space up on the outside and move up when the time comes. As here comes Jared Oren leading this race now in the 99. Daytona has not been his friend historically. His best finish in this race was 21st, I want to say, back in Season 5. And the most memorable aspect of it, he was involved in the crash and directly impacted that finish. That was the race Eli Bright won. Dominic Anthony finished second that day. He probably remembers it, but not in a good way. But you see the field now starting to calm themselves down a little bit, back to single file for the top 3, and then double file behind. A little bit of 3 wide. So Oren now in front. Here comes Max Davis in the 13. He looks very, very quick once again. Of course, qualified second. So no surprise that he'd be fast here, but he's on that inside now. You got Maya, Gwar, they're all coming back to the front as now here comes the 13 down to the inside with no help behind him. Yeah, with no help behind him underneath the Jared Oren, but here comes Maya, here comes Gwar, Anthony and Cruz all on the inside.
That was very impressive for Matt Davis, and he might be kind of like the conversation of Sam Vitale and the number 99 here. I think we have 3 cars that have really stuck out, the 13, the 99, and the 37, that might be able to really control the field here. Halfway through the Daytona 500 at the line, and it will be Juan Lean, the halfway point, as the overlay has switched. I love this overlay. Credit to everyone that worked on this. It's still in development, and it is amazing, and so glad that you got this over here in the Gratton Cup Series this season. And we gotta see of how the overlay might expand on over the time. But right now, it is just like what we had about 15-20 laps ago. The field is starting to calm down a little bit, and from all that 3 wide to double file, you have the halfway point up to 500.
Absolutely. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Jared Oren on the outside is going to lead that lap. I'll tell you what, Henrik Ward looks very racy here. He made it 3 wide before. It looks like he's one of those drivers that is willing to make the moves if they present themselves. But as everybody's now starting to calm their farm and calm back down, back to double file. He's just hung in behind here. Max Davis in the 13, who's looking to grab his 2nd Cup Series win. He won at Chicagoland last year, and for Seminole Motors, makes the move across to Nicotech this year, and it emulates what Noah Clifton did. But of course, Noah Clifton didn't win the 500. He only won the one race last year. Max Davis started on the outside of the front row. Here's another interesting thing. We have talked about the Gratton Cup Series 500. We ran a couple of others as well. Samsung Offline Racing late 2023. James Stack was the winner for Crisis Racing Team. And where did he start? He started second. So, car number 13. You never know. He's back up at the front of the field, and he's got some pretty good drives around him, but that car looks very, very fast. But Oren's still hanging tough. How about Burton here in the 59? We haven't talked about him yet, or Fitzwater Australia Racing. They qualified so well, and then were so disappointing in the duels. They dropped all the way back down the order. Of course, those two cars locked into the 500, so nothing to worry about, but now Burton on that outside, pushing a fellow Ford driver for the first time. He's this team have run Dodgers for 4 seasons. They move across to Ford, and here they are pushing Jared Oren to the lead once again here in the 500s. We've got 22 laps to go.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but look at his making some moves on this inside lane that I've been noticing in the last couple of laps. Alex Sanvitale is working his way back up to the front, doing it one car at a time really on this inside lane, and I think Sanvitale might be the best car here. I think the 13, the 7199 might be good cars as well, same with the 42. But I think this 37 of Sanvitale might have the best car here today. All by himself making moves on this inside lane, and with 22 laps to go, he has time. And earlier he led about 10 to 12 laps until he was able to get challenged for the lead. So if Sanvitale times this perfectly in say 10 laps time, he could just lead the final 10 to 12 laps and win the 500.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joshy as well is with him. And of course we know it was Joshy who got to the inside of the 37. So we'll see here. Now it's interesting up front because Davis was trying to get clear of Oren, couldn't quite. That's going to open the door here for Gwar down on the inside, and now Meyer's being shuffled to the middle, and here comes Sanvitale, 3-1 and then inside in the 37. Now going to push Anthony. He's got Joshy right behind, a whole heap of Chevs on that inside, all trying to work together. The 2 wide is no more. It's now 3 wide at the front, and it's going to be Oren on the outside, but well, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. The big 3 last year were NS Racing, Nicotech, and Gifford Technologies Incorporated, and they're right now first, second, and third here in the Daytona 500. Davis gets himself clear of Gwar, but he can't quite get himself clear of Oren. So we'll see here with now less than 20 to go here in the 500. There's still plenty of time to make your moves. You've got to time it to absolute perfection, and just quietly as well. Duncan Ward, of course, dominated Duel 2. Well, he's suddenly back on the inside in the fight. So we haven't seen him all day, but here he is now with a chance in that number 93 for Evans Ross Racing. As now Davis with a big push. He's not going to get himself clear, but he is going to lead as Sanvitale has shoved Anthony to the middle, and he's bringing Joshy with him.
This is very fascinating. We've seen it really go all over the place. It's gone 2 wide, 3 wide, a 4 wide move here and there, a little bit of single file towards the front, and now it's down to crunch time. I think these guys might be aggressive from here on out because they know it's under 20 laps to go in the Daytona 500. But shout out to the 43 of Will Parrish there, the second Fitzwater Australia Racing machine. The 59's been up front all day long. Will Parrish sneaking up late here in the 500. Same with the 7 of Jerry Chen. Haven't seen him all race on. Jack Haas, Cruz Jr. So there's still some names that we have not seen yet here today that are sneaking their way up to the front late. Same with guys like Crampton. He's slowly moving his way up. He needs to pick up the pace a little bit. Same with Proxel, but this is interesting. This is fascinating. Like I said at the top, this is a fairly deep roster, and I will not be surprised if any one of these guys pulls off the win with 18 to go.
Back up to the front. Still 2 wide at the front. It's still Davis and Oren, and then Gwar's on the inside, but he can't quite get underneath that number 13 at the moment. Sanvitale and Joshy are the 2. They're the ones that I'm looking at right now that that look like that they are so fast, and up front earlier in the 500, and here we go. They're going to push the 71 to the front. Here goes Gore 3 wide on the inside here for the lead. And is he going to be able? He's not going to be able to clear himself out of turn 2. So we'll see. The outside lane and the middle lane, they're definitely the preferred lanes down the straightaways. As you see, Oren gets a big run on that outside to nose himself ahead, but he's going to have to drop back to Burton. And Savatale is all over the back of Henry Gore here in the 71. Gore looking for a race win here in the 500 after being so close last year. He's right in the fray. Hey, I mentioned Duncan Ward before. He's been shuffled to the middle by his teammate, Ellie Fondati, here in the 09 now, in another one of the Evans Ross racing cars, working her way forward now in this 500 in her first Cup Series start. And well, Benny Watson's right there, Eric Monaco, Logan Williams, Nathan Morgan, all these drivers back in here as well. So if things get moving at the front, and they may well get moving now, because Gore is just about to clear, and he does. He clears Davis. He moves up, trying to clear Oren. Here goes Sam Vitale. Here comes Joshi, all on that inside, trying to work their way back to the lead, as Sam Vitale, who's led by far and away the most laps in this race. Well, actually, he may not have led the most, not by far, but he certainly led the most laps in this race. He's now back out in front here for Hairgel Motorsports in the 37, but OS Joshi, Will Parrish, and now Ellie Fondati, Benny Watson, Eric Monaco, another Hairgel car, all on that inside.
But that's been, well, I've been kind of, hinting at, is that these Hairgel cars, they tend to be fast. We didn't really get to see of how fast Will Conn Jr. and Matthew Hubert were, but look at the 37. Already, single file 1, 2, and maybe 3 here. And this 37 is the fastest car here at Daytona. We gotta see if someone can challenge, and that someone might be Matt Davidson's number 13 machine. All by himself earlier. I think the top 2 fastest cars are the top 2. All by himself, Matt Davis to the inside. Here at Daytona, he's gonna need some help though eventually, and he might get it from the 39F Dominic Anthony.
Anthony is the only driver in this field that has raced in every Daytona 500. He's the only driver now in this field that has raced in every Cup Series race. He's he had a long record tied with Tristan Allen. Allen not on the grid this year. Anthony now stands alone. Here he is back on that inside after the field got broken up just a little bit at the front. He's now back on the inside in that second position on the inside. Parrish still on the inside. How about Eric Monaco? How about Logan Williams? Nathan Morgan? Sarah Taylor? Here comes Crampton. He's not out of the fight just yet. So lots of drivers making their moves now, as a big push from Anthony is going to send Davis back to the lead here, as now we've got 13 laps to go for the number 13 as he takes the lead once again here at Daytona. As we said, he can win from the second position. That's where he started from. He's trying to get around this 37. Sam Vitale has been so impressive today. Perhaps earlier on, when he lost that lead, he got a little bit too far out in front. This is going to be a tougher challenge for him, because Davis has looked really quite strong, but how about that run off the top for Sam Vitale as he retakes the lead down the back. Monaco is now up to third on the inside. Fondati just shoved Logan Williams to the middle. Here comes the 96 of Watson. Here comes Taylor, and here comes Crampton. So a couple of your cars making their way forward here late. They're coming to 12 to go this time. Davis is going to probably take the lead here at the line.
Looks like he will with 12 laps to go. This has been a fascinating 500. We've seen so many changes within the pack all race long. From single file, double file, 3 wide, back to double file, back to 3 wide, and now back to double file. And this has been such a fascinating Daytona 500. And, hopefully, knock on wood, we can survive in the final 12 laps and not have any cautions for I believe the first time in the Gratton Cup Series Daytona 500. But the EMS racing cars, 3 of them are on the move. One of them's all the way up here with the 99, trying to go 3 in a row. I don't know if that's really been done before at Daytona at least, but it's going to be tough for anyone to beat the top 2 here. Davis leading the inside lane, Sam Vitale leading the outside lane. And these 2, some of the best cars here, with some second tier best cars of Anthony and Joshi behind him. This is going to be tough for anyone to get past these top 4, I think.
Absolutely, especially if the way they're going here at the moment. You could tell that there are drivers like Eli Fondati here in the 09, Eric Monaco the 52. They want to make moves. They want to get going. They want to get up to the front of the field, but they just can't at the moment. They're going to have to stay in behind. But Anthony is doing a great job here on the inside because he's pushing Davis and is pushing him across the line every single time. The outside is historically, the strongest line coming to the checker flag. It's how Travis Crampton won last year, for example. He got that run on the outside and he was able to hold off Gore, who was on the inside. Or hold him off. He was actually able to pass him out of turn 4 and down the front. So Anthony's doing a great job. That inside lane pretty well structured here at the moment, but they just cannot get around this 37. And what a job Sam Vitale has done here today. Backing up what he did in the dual race, where he led the most laps by quite a margin too. Now we got some 3 wide. Watson's forced his way open on that inside underneath of Eli Fondati. Wouldn't it be something if Watson were to win this 500? Wouldn't it be something if Anthony won the 500? Guys that have been around forever and have tried and tried and tried, but have not been able to win the Daytona 500. They're in with a chance. With less than 10 laps to go now in this Daytona 500. It's still Max Davis, but here comes Eric Monaco, the 52. This time may get underneath of Anthony. Not quite. Didn't get the push he needed, and he's going to stay in behind. But now Fondati, unfortunately, in the middle. Not the place that she wants to be, but here comes Taylor. Here comes Crampton. He wants to go back-to-back in this Daytona 500.
Where did Crampton come from? I don't remember seeing that orange machine up front all day long, and now when the pay window is open, less than 10 laps to go, himself and Watson on the move, but I gotta agree with you with Dominic Anthony. Normally that outside lane off turn 4, that's where you want to be, but Dominic Anthony is glued to the back bumper, and just look at that. He's like the last 3 or 4 laps I've noticed that he's been closer to the back bumper of Davis than what Joshie has been to the 37. So, and just like that, for example, the 39 is so good getting the back bumper, and I think the 37, the only reason why he's able to maintain is just with how good of a car he's able to have, because Joshie's definitely not close enough to the 37 compared to what the 39 has been. So, and here we go, Crampton. I don't know where he came from. I really don't. I don't like that he just put one of my cars in the middle, but Crampton's trying to go back. The last 2 years the last 2 seasons it's been in NS Racing, and Crampton's trying to make it 3 in a row and go back from really being in the back always long. 7 to go, but still I think it's gonna be very tough when they want to get past these top 4.
Yep, the way they're going at the moment, and Anthony's doing everything in his power to hold Eric Monaco back. Monaco continues to make moves, try and get to the inside, but the closer you get to the front, the harder it is to make moves here in this 500. That's the way it's been all day. That's the way it's been historically. How about these 2 Pacific cars? Troxel, and your pick to win, Caleb Rose, is not out of this in the 32. He's still in with a chance. But look at this outside lane. The outside lane being broken up here at the moment. Fondati a long way back of Logan Williams. That might help the inside lane here as now we're coming to 6 laps to go. Davis continuing to lead over Dominic Anthony. And Eric Monaco again peeking down the inside, but just cannot do anything about it. How about Yuko? The 53 on the move. Roberto Crown, Rogel Dawn, Patrick Raven, all these drivers trying to work their way forward late here in this 500. But it is just 2 by 2 by 2 throughout the first, let's say, 10, 12 cars or so. It's been Davis and Sam Vitale. They've been the fastest 2 cars here today. And here they are with a chance. Here comes Thomas Troxel. He just shoved Crampton to the middle. That might be it for Crampton. Troxel now on the move here in the 62. So Pacific Racing in with a chance here with 2 of their cars. And McClure's not that far back either, it should be said as well. As now Watson goes to the middle. So the middle lane may be coming back here a little bit. As now we've got 5 to go in this Daytona 500. Here comes Monaco. Does he get to the inside of Anthony this time? He will not. He is trying so hard at the moment to get underneath the 39. But Anthony continues to cover him every single time. And continues to push Max Davis out in front.
This is so intense. And I don't know who's going to get the drop down. But Monaco really wants to get to the inside of Dominic Anthony. Monaco has been able to be aggressive, but Anthony keeps on closing. I thought the 2 last racing cars in the middle were going to get shuffled back, but they are not shuffling back, and they are kind of all by themselves working through the middle. So we cannot count those guys if they can get the middle split. But look at San Vitale's trying to side draft all he can to try and get the outside lane to work. This is going to be very close to it. It was closer last year for the 500, and I think it's going to be close again. 4 laps to go. I think the likelihood of a caution at this point probably very, very low. But Matt Stave is going to get clear this time. No, not quite. And the 37 still going to whip on the outside lane. Here comes Caleb. My pick. I have a 50-50 chance on either getting a pick right or jinxing him. Luckily, I've not changed Caleb here today. He is on the move in the number 32. 3 laps to go. And I don't know who's going to get the job done. It'll be San Vitale, Davis, Monaco. Can he finally make a move? Anthony? I don't know, but we only have 3 laps to go.
Oh, Monaco, is he going to get there this time? It looks like he's there on the inside, and yet Anthony somehow is able to hold him off every single time. The 39 is still in position to maybe push the 13 to the win. Max Davis for Nicotech. Alex Sanvitale for Hairgel Motorsports. Hairgel Motorsports have only won twice in their history. They did it with William Brock at Darlington, the Southern 500, in Season 5, and then at Auto Club with Charlie Davenport last year. Only 2 wins in their history. Nicotech, they've won nearly 37 races. They've won 36 of them, second most ever in the Cup Series. There's now Davis with 2 laps to go, leading at the line once again. They've got to rally on this outside, I reckon. Surely, if you're Joshy, you've got to give Sanvitale everything you can here. If Sanvitale is to win this race, Sanvitale is doing everything in his power to hold that outside to the best of his ability, but he just doesn't have the help. Anthony is pushing this 13 to the best of his ability, and it's giving him the lead, at least for the moment. They'll be seeing the white flag next time here in the Daytona 500. Rose trying to make some ground, but can't quite do it. Here comes Anthony with a bit of a run onto the back of the 13, and here we go. It is going to be the white flag this time. They are still side by side throughout the bulk of the field. It's Max Davis in the 13 at the white flag. 1 lap to go here in the Daytona 500. Can Max Davis get his second career win, or will Sanvitale bring it home? Eric Monaco trying to make a move to the inside of Anthony. Can't quite do it. He's going to have to slot in behind as here comes Davis. Here comes Anthony giving a push to the 13 once again. Down the back for the final time here at Daytona. Sanvitale is going to get the run off the top. He got a bit more of assistance this time from Joshy. They're going to be side by side out of 4. This is going to be as close as it was last year. It's Sanvitale at the moment. Davis on the inside. Anthony with a big run here in the 39. He may push the 13 to victory. Here we go, out of turn 4. Max Davis for Nicotech. Alex Sanvitale for Hairgel Motorsports. They're going to be side by side to the line. This is going to be very, very close. It is Davis! It is Davis! Max Davis has done it! And from second on the grid, Max Davis with a push at the end has won the Daytona 500 for Nicotech. And Max Davis gets his second career win. It says .00 at the line. We'll get the final official margin here in a moment, but Max Davis has done enough to win the Daytona 500. Sanvitale got as good a run as he did from Joshy at the end, and it just wasn't enough. And Max Davis has won the Daytona 500. Nicotech Racing's 37th Cup Series win is their first in the Daytona 500.
All you had to do was beat Sanvitale at the line. It was not much. It went down to the 1,000th of a second, 0.00 something. But that's all you had to do was beat Sanvitale at the line. And Matt Davis, he has to thank Dominic Anthony for the last 10, 15 laps, because he was pushing him like crazy on the inside lane. Every lap, Dominic Anthony was doing some of the best pushes all day to the 13. He was a great pusher here with Dominic Anthony, the veteran. Kept on getting the back bumper, and that's what costed him at the end. I think Joshy didn't quite was able to push the 37 as good as the 39 to the 13. And Sanvitale almost got there, but that's what ultimately hurt them. I think Anthony was just such a good pusher on that inside lane. And how about that from Matt Davis? He had to own that one, but to the third 1,000th, to the third 0.00 something, Max Davis is a Daytona 500 champion. And how about that caution free? The Pat turned around all over the place, all 50 laps. And that was a fantastic Daytona 500 here at Daytona.
What a race and what a finish it was in the end. Max Davis, it was 4/1000th of a second. That is the joint closest Cup Series finish of all time. We had that finish. We had that finish in the Budget Truck Series of race, of course, not that long ago, only a couple of weeks ago, where it was what was it? It was Mateus Bento who beat Sarah Taylor by absolutely nothing. So it's not quite the closest finish of all time, but it is the joint closest finish of a Cup Series race ever. Joins at this track as well, Daytona, in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Julio Cesar was the winner that day over Daniel Server. So Max Davis, your winner of the Daytona 500, ahead of Alex Sanvitali. They were clearly the fastest two cars today. No doubt about that. Sanvitali dominated so much of the early portion, got shuffled, worked his way back. And Max Davis started from second here in the 500. And like James Stack before him, wins the 500. Dominic Anthony in third. OS Joshi, what a drive from Joshi today. He ends up in fourth for Mateus Bento Racing. They will be pretty happy with that, you'd imagine. Eric Monaco, 2 hair job cars inside the top 5. Henry Gore in 6th. Thomas Troxel, Logan Williams, Caleb Rose, and Ellie Fondati on debut ends up in 10th. Aris Yuko, Roberto Crown, Patrick Raven, Travis Crampton. It looked like he and Benny Watson were going to work their way towards the front and have a chance to win the 500. Then they got shuffled back through the middle. Wasn't to be for them. Brandon Bett didn't see much of our pole sitter in this race. I don't think he led a lap at all in the 27. Ludovic Charette, Matthew Hubert, and Jack Haas round out the top 20. Nicholas Samudio in 21st for Big Motorsports, and they're in the car here in the 500. Mahindra Motorsports, it didn't work out the way that I thought it may have. Sarah Taylor was the highest finisher in 22nd. Jared Oren led a lot of laps as well. He was in that battle with Davis for so much of the race. He ended up 25th. It's a disappointing result for him. Parrish dropped back. Ward dropped back. We didn't see any of Leonard Koshmer in the 03. Nathan Smith finished 31st, which is a bit of a surprise. Kelly Lee in 34th. Jake Rogers was up there earlier on. He ended up 32nd. Alexander Rowe was nowhere all speedweeks. He ends up 38th. Eli Bright in 40th. He was moving his way forward, so not sure what happened to Bright there at the end. And then Nathan Morgan and Alejandro Cruz Jr. were the final finishers. Nathan, we'll see the standings on your screen. They're going to be practically the same as what these results are, but what are your final thoughts here on the Daytona 500?
That was a classic Daytona 500. Like I said, the pack changed so much with some cars being faster than others, like Sam Vitale, like Max Davis, and some others. And there's clearly some that started up towards the one that didn't really make it to the end. And you know, I thought my guys Annis Racing was gonna do something crazy at the end there with Crampton, but got shuffled up to the high side, and that was it. So the 2-year streak ends, but impressive that we were able to win the Daytona 500 2 years in a row with how crazy this race has been, and it doesn't get much better than that. The closest finish, we're tied for the closest cup finish, and what a race to have it. And I'm glad that these teams can use these cars again at the rest of the super speedways. No caution here at Daytona, very surprisingly, and I bet all the team owners are going to be happy to have the cars in one piece here. And what a classic Daytona 500. I know some people might want the wets, but as an owner and as a commentator, I am glad that we didn't have a wet, because we had everyone in the pack at the end, and it came to the line. I was thinking in my head, all you gotta do is beat him at the line. You don't have to fully pass him, just beat him at the line. And it doesn't get much closer than that. 0.004. Max Davis got the job done. What a classic Daytona 500 Stewart. Thanks for having me up here in the booth, and looking forward to how the rest of the season goes up in the booth. up on the pit box as owner and going forward of how the rest of the season unfolds. Because if there is anything like that, then we could see a crazy season. And if it's anything like the Budget Truck Series, with a boatload of full finishes, we just started season 7 with a full finish. So gotta see how the rest of the season unfolds. And congratulations to Max Davis on the win.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations to Nicotech and Max Davis, winners of the 7th Daytona 500. And a big thank you, obviously, to Nathan for hopping into the booth here today. We'll see you next week. We head to our first speedway of the season. We stay in Florida. We go to Homestead, where the finale is, of course, this upcoming season. For the second race of the season, the Auto Nation 400. So looking forward to that race. Congratulations once again to Max Davis and Nicotech Racing for winning the Daytona 500. And we'll see everybody next time out at Homestead.